Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be having a look at some fragrances from the House of Creed, a fragrance house whose name embodies class, sophistication, luxury, refinements and elegance. We'll do that again. Sorry. Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be having a look at a subject that I'm really excited to talk about, and that's the top 5 under the radar fragrances from Creed, or Creed fragrances you may not have thought of trying. So there are very many famous ones from the House of Creed. These are the ones you may have missed that are really good. I'm bringing you this video in cooperation with Fragrance Samples UK, who have sent me the samples for each fragrance. It's a great place to buy fragrances, really good range and very, very reasonable prices. They do ship around the world. And they've got a special offer on as I upload this video today, Black Friday, and the code BLACKFRIDAY20 will get you 20% off everything on the site. And if you follow the link down there and you're in the UK, that will automatically apply that discount at the checkout. If you're outside the UK, they do still ship around the world with some terms and conditions. And if you just mention the code, you have to email them to order. Mention the code Black Friday, 20% off. Brilliant value, great deal. So the other reason I like working with Fragrance Samples UK is that they are run by Greg from the Greggy Boy 76 channel, one of my all-time favourite reviewers from the UK. When I first got into fragrances, he was a huge inspiration, and met him once. I'm hoping to meet him again soon. He's a hard man to get out and to meet up with. He's very busy, but I'm hoping to achieve that, if not in 2018, 2019. So on to the video. 5 fragrances. Me and Greg have agreed that these are really nice ones, worthy of your attention, but not the obvious ones. I don't own any, so I've got the samples. Samples come in nice little plastic things like this, which is very safe, they don't break. Sizes from 1ml up to 10ml. I think for the Creed fragrances, a lot of them, including the first one I'm going to mention, 10ml, £23.73. Add the discount and that's down to sort of £18 something. I think that's a really good way to have a decent amount. 10ml will last you a while, and you're only spending under £20 to have a Creed fragrance that will last you maybe a few months if you don't use it every day. So I think that's a good way to try out some Creeds, maybe the ones in this list, or the famous ones, they have all those too. So first of all, we're going to kick off at number 5 with Aberdeen Lavender. They're in no particular order. Aberdeen Lavender comes in these kind of bottles here. Don't find the bottles all that attractive compared to some of the other Creed ones. And the name doesn't sound that exotic to me. Aberdeen's just, as far as I'm aware, now a rather drab city in Scotland. No offence to the people of Aberdeen. And lavender, it's not the most exotic note. So Aberdeen Lavender, if you're into the note of lavender, and I am, if you like maybe barbershop type scents, which tend to have a lot of lavender, really, really beautiful representation of that kind of thing. Some of the other notes in there, the absinthe, a little bit, maybe, I think it's a little bit of a licorice-esque twist, rosemary, there's rose patchouli leather. Reminds me of some of the notes that you would read in Rive Gauche Pour Homme from Yves Saint Laurent. There's a certain similarity with these kind of barbershop scents, maybe Fougère Royale, but it's a little bit more airy and floral and a little bit lighter than those, maybe leaning just a little bit more unisex, a bit more modern in a way, but it has a retro feel too. And a really, really pleasant, high quality, beautiful lavender scent. If you like the note of lavender, Aberdeen Lavender from Creed, 2014 creation, really, really beautiful, and it has to do with Queen Victoria's love of the Highlands. She apparently, according to Creed, was one of their patrons back in the days of her reign. So yeah, really, really nice, doesn't get much attention, but it's up there with a lot of their famous ones actually. Moving on then for something completely different, we're going to go with Arafah from Creed. So again, I've got my little 1ml sample there. So Arafah is a very airy, citrusy, aquatic, marine type of scent. The name actually comes from some of the family members of Olivier Creed, his son Erwin, daughter I think Olivia, and his wife Fabienne, if you put the beginning of their names together in one word, Arafah. So the note listing for this one, you've got caraway, lime, melon, green notes, violet, bergamot, lemon, cyclamen, pine tree, ginger, pepper, jasmine, nutmeg, musk, oak moss, sandalwood, ambergris and cedar. If I was to simplify my description of this in a dumbed down way, which of course not all of my viewers require, but sometimes it's handy, we could call it the rich man's acqua di Gio. If you want something fresh and citrusy with a kind of marine airy accord, a very nice citrus element within the scent, and this kind of probably synthetic marine or sea note type accord done really well by Creed. This one is very, very nice. I think Greg in his review once said it smelled like the sea air which had picked up the notes of some fruits being sold by the sea, and that was a good description, I think. Very, very nice, high quality. It was in 1992, just as the whole citrusy, aquatic scents were really about to take the world by storm with things like Acqua di Gio, L'Eau d'Issey, Cool Water had already happened, and Arafah gives you this very, very citrusy, fresh, sea air, citrus cologne, but with this added kind of marine feel to it in a really high quality and nice way. Great choice, and an alternative maybe to things that came along later like Millesime Imperial or Silver Mountain Water, which are also both very, very fresh, and that's what Creed does so well. So Arafah from Creed, really, really high quality, lovely stuff, and yeah, niche version, if you want to, one way of describing it, the rich man's Acqua di Gio, maybe. Okay, so moving on to the third one in my list, we're going to do Vetiver Geranium. Here's my little sample of that one. I've tried these all in stores before, but it's good to have the samples here to refer to directly. And Vetiver Geranium, as you might expect, has a pronounced vetiver note in it. It reminds many people a little bit of Terre d'Hermès. So again, if we're being very simplistic, you could call it the niche Terre d'Hermès. That's not really doing it justice. The notes for this one: lemon, Granny Smith apple, bergamot, rose, geranium, cinnamon, cedar, vetiver, patchouli, musk and amber. Really, really classy, nice vetiver note. The note of geranium is also talked about by a lot of the reviewers on Fragrantica. I'm not massively familiar, I've got to be honest, with how geranium on its own smells, but what I do get with this scent is a nice earthy, rich vetiver note, similar in a way to Terre d'Hermès or even Gucci Guilty Absolute that I featured in my last video, but a much sort of softer, more floral, lighter overall feel than both of those, with a bit of fruitiness. This Granny Smith apple, Creed quite likes the note of apple, it's in Aventus too, and a very light, airy feel, but a high-class vetiver note in there. And so if you're looking maybe for a vetiver scent with a bit of niche quality, rather than the many different things that are similar to maybe Terre d'Hermès, Gucci Guilty Absolute, something a little bit lighter and more sophisticated maybe in its smell than those, then I think Vetiver Geranium, really, really classy and worth checking out. 2014 release, apparently inspired by the island of Java, where Olivier Creed apparently liked to take his vacations. So moving on from that one, we've got this one, could be my favourite. I absolutely love this scent. The only reason I don't own this is it's a bit more expensive than the other ones. So this is from the range of fragrances that cost a bit more than these other ones, and this is Selection Vert. And this one was released way back in 1901, apparently. I've also read that Sigmund Freud, the famous psychoanalyst, really the forefather of modern psychoanalysis, used this fragrance as his one of his signature scents. So that is interesting. More importantly, how does it smell? Notes are listed as citrus, neroli, pepper, mint, herbal notes, ambergris, and it's a very, very citrusy, fresh eau de cologne type fragrance. It's absolutely exquisite. A kind of green, fresh, minty aura comes off. Really, almost a clinical level of cleanness. It would be a really professional smell. Maybe if you are a doctor, psychoanalyst person working with people sort of on a one-on-one basis, and they're going to be stuck with you for a while. You want to smell well presented, crisp and clean. Brilliant professional scent. It's a really, really high quality, old school citrus fragrance. If you like things maybe like Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino, 1861 Renaissance from Xerjoff, one of my favourites. It's in that vein. Really, really beautiful, arresting green, sharp, minty, almost clinically clean, but not in a sort of sterile or synthetic way, but just very, very green and fresh. The ultimate summer or spring daytime professional work scent. Rather expensive, but it really does smell luxurious and high quality. So I really love Selection Vert. I'm going to have to probably maybe buy one of these fragrances, and that's top of my list at the moment. It's the one that I like best out of these five, I think, which is unfortunate because it's the most expensive. But, getting a sample, a decant, 10ml, 5ml, could be a good way to go for me before I get round to a full bottle. So last but not least, we're coming up to one that is actually probably the most well known widely, but again doesn't quite get as much love as some of the big star players, the Green Irish Tweeds, the Vikings, and of course the Aventuses from Creed. So this is Himalaya. So Himalaya, released from 2002, great all-rounder this. It is citrusy. Creed specialise in citrusy fragrances, so it's getting a bit dull to keep saying, well, it's quite a nice fresh scent, but they are all really nice. For the most part, they have a certain freshness about them. This one's no exception. Notes, we've got lemon, grapefruit, bergamot, sandalwood, musk, ambergris, cedar. Many people compare this to Paco Rabanne XS, which came out in 1994. There is a similarity, but you have to say this is honestly a little bit more classy smelling, and I get a brighter citrus element. It's supposed to be inspired by the Himalayan mountains, hence the silver bottle sort of looking a bit like a mountain, or a mountaineer's flask that he might have his water or drink or whatever in. Some people talk about a slightly metallic note, which could be represented by the silver bottle, and I do get a slightly metallic, not in an unpleasant way, element with this one, more so than the Silver Mountain Water from Creed, which is often described as having a metallic note as well, but I don't get that in that one. I do in this a little bit, not in a bad way though. Really, really soapy, fresh citrus, but with this woody depth underneath it, so it's not really in the out and out citrus cologne category, the super fresh category, more of a signature scent that does have a woody depth to it and a really, really high class quality smell. I feel like it was a bit like the equivalent of Aventus before Aventus. It came out 8 years earlier as an all-rounder, a citrus fragrance with a woody masculine depth underneath and a real high quality smell. I love this stuff, and again it's quite high on my list. If I can get a bottle of this for a good price, that could be the other one that I'm really, really looking out for. Quite tempted by a couple of the others. Aberdeen Lavender actually, maybe the other one I'm considering adding to my collection. So I think all of these five are right up there with the famous Creeds. Absolutely beautiful scents, and look out for your chance to sample them at Fragrance Samples UK. Thank you ever so much for watching. Let me know what you think the under the radar, forgotten, hidden gems are from their famous House of Creed. I'm sure there are some others that I've forgotten. I can even think of a few right now. Thanks ever so much for watching. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. See you next time. Bye bye.